Hi, in this video, I want to show you how to draw a graph using the Desmos grid. And we're going to do this graph by actually using our computer tools to draw. And if you look on my computer, if you're watching at my screen right now, you can see that in the lower right-hand corner of my screen, I have a pen, and I'm going to be able to draw on this graph using that pen, but I'm not going to do it quite yet because first I'm going to think about what I want my graph to look like. All right, so I'm going to actually be graphing about some cars, and they're going to be driving for a number of hours. And so I'm going to actually have to label that on the graph. And so I go up here to the upper right-hand corner where there's a little wrench. That's like tools. And I can go on here, and then I can label what I want on my axis. And my x-axis, I'm going to write time, and I'm going to write hours because my cars are going to drive for hours. And then on my y-axis, I am going to write distance, and I'm going to write that in miles because usually we measure how far our cars go in miles. Okay, and then that's enough on my graph for now. It looks okay, but you could change these numbers here, and you could try that and just see what happens to these axes. It makes them stretch out or not stretch out. Actually, I'm going to change my distance side because I want more miles. I want to have more miles on my distance side. So I'm going to put 120 miles. My cars might go 120 miles. All right. And so now I have my graph, and now I can click on that graph, and I can draw on that graph. Okay, now how do I draw on that graph? I have to click on the lower right corner where that marker is, and that makes a picture of my screen. And then I can draw on my screen, okay? So now that I can draw on my screen, watch my cursor. It goes up here to the top, and it draws, and I can click on the ruler that's up there. And that ruler goes here on the screen. And then I can move that ruler around. If I left click on my pad, my mouse pad, and then move my finger, I can move that ruler around. But I can also, if I use just both fingers, if I don't click on it and use both fingers, I can just move that ruler and draw on my screen, okay? So I'm gonna draw a picture of my car, where my car is going to go for some time, okay? So I'm gonna move that ruler until it lines up really nice on some of my squares, okay? And I'm going to draw that picture, okay? So I'm going to draw that picture on my graph. And so here, I'm just moving my fingers on the ruler until I finally get it to line up. And I'm going to start at the 0. You can see that it's lining up at the 0 right down here. And then I'm going to move my fingers a little bit more and then I'm going to left click and slide it over until it lines up nice. And then I can draw on this graph, and my car went this far. Okay, so it's best if you make your graph so it goes through the corners of on the graph. Okay, and now my car is actually going to slow down a little bit, so I'm going to move the ruler some, and I'm going to make it go through some different corners. So my car is going to be right where it was, but I'm going to move that ruler a little bit more like this. There we go. And I think maybe I should move it just a little bit more. All right. And then I'm going to be able to draw. Okay. And so I get to there and keep drawing. I'm going to draw to this corner. And then I'm going to draw one more time. I'm going to move my ruler a whole bunch all the way around here. And I'm going to draw, I think I'm going to go all the way over to this corner. Okay. And once you do that, once you draw that, then you're going to be able to stop. There's your graph. And in another video, I'm going to show you how you can take a snip of that and show me the snip, because what I want to see is a nice graph that you draw, and I want you to put that snip of your graph into your assignment. And then that would be a good day's work.